you something. I'll take a bit of umbrage here. I'll speak on behalf of my colleagues. I think I can say we are all willing to work with anyone who's serious about doing the work of censoring the American people and advancing progress. But they are not serious.
Yes, she's serious about censoring the American people. She believes that censorship is important, and it's the role of government to censor the American people because she looks normal on the outside, but on the inside, she's a commie. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, a radical and extremist, a mainstream Democrat. She's here to destroy the world. Good Thursday to you and welcome back once again. We are reachable at 888-630-9625. The Democrats are on a jihad. They'll destroy the world quicker than anyone. We're the United States, after all. And I'm gonna, Michael, whether you try to prevent me or not, I'm gonna get to the mailbag questions today. We only have 3 mailbag questions, and I failed to get to the mailbag questions yesterday, but today we will correct that. But first, we have crazy Democrats because the Democrat Party is we should name mental institutions after the Democrat Party and after these people. At Ayanna Pressley, she is. She's pro-censorship. She wants more censorship. She believes it's her role, the role of Congress, the role of the federal government, to crush free speech. The Democratic Party isn't, right? Friendly fire isn't. Common sense isn't. Let's have a resurgence of common sense. The Democrat Party should be relegated to the ash heap of history, like the Soviet Union. We thought we had won the Cold War when the Berlin Wall came down and the Soviet Union unraveled and hundreds of millions were freed, thanks to, in large part, Ronald Reagan and to Pope John Paul II and Lech Walesa and good stuff. Democrats love to give credit to Mikhail Gorbachev because he didn't launch 30,000 nuclear weapons to prevent the Berlin Wall from coming down, Soviet Union from coming unraveled. It was not the doing of Mikhail Gorbachev, who I, of course, met. We're old friends, me and Mikhail. We met at Ronald Reagan's funeral, as a matter of fact, and talked at Ronald Reagan's funeral. But that's not important now. Let's get back to the crazy Democrats. They're a menace to society and to our sacred democracy. And what do we have now? We've got that's a constitutional crisis going on in the United States of America. If there is a constitutional crisis, I know what it is, and it's not what the Democrats say it is. Isn't that amazing? They're truly something. I want and the intellectual firepower of the Democrat Party was on display yesterday, too. Democrat Congressman Emanuel Cleaver, kind of like Beaver Cleaver, but without the intelligence and the charm and the knowledge of a 6-year-old. Here is a representative congressman, Emanuel Cleaver, a Democrat, of course, from the once great state of Missouri, but they send Emanuel Cleaver here again and again and again. And he's really angry and stupid. And Elon Musk has him angry. Elon Musk has all the Democrats angry because he used to be on their side, but he's not anymore. And he bought Twitter, which was a propaganda weapon that the Democrats abused in collusion with the FBI and the Biden administration to corrupt a presidential election. And they've done a lot of terrible things to the FBI and with the FBI. But here's Emanuel Cleaver attacking Elon Musk because he's a thinking person and he's in favor of free speech. He bought Twitter for tens of billions of dollars to take it away from Jack Dorsey, a Democrat Party activist, donor, multi-billionaire. And then Elon Musk said, we're going to bring free speech. I'm from South Africa, and I'm an immigrant to the United States, and I, as such, recognize the importance and the value of free speech in the United States of America, so I'm going to bring free speech back. And as you just heard from Ayanna Pressley, they're not free speech people. They're crush free speech people. They are authoritarian people. They are leftists and not liberals. And here is the dim-witted Democrat Emmanuel Cleaver.
I'm going to be quick because I want to send a message to somebody. Elon, take your musty millions and musty Moscow rights to the moon. Because if you don't, we're going to stand up, we're going to speak out, we're going to march, we're going to do anything we need to do to make sure that the people of this country understand that the CFPB is for them. You get your musty hands off of our money or go to Moscow, you musty moo.
Then he walks off the stage to applause from similarly situated intellectual powers, calling themselves Democrats. That was him being quick. I don't know what a musky Moscow writes, and they love calling it. They're the communists. It reminds me of that woman from the Obama administration, right, the State Department lady who explained under oath on Capitol Hill that it's the Russian playbook to accuse you of being guilty of whatever it is they know they are guilty of. It's the old switchy because that's the Moscow playbook. Oh, yeah, Victoria Nuland from the Democrat State Department, and here's what Victoria Nuland said.
It is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Yeah, that's Victoria Nuland. She kind of gave away the store there, didn't she, Victoria Nuland? And she's off making millions from some left-wing radical billionaire, no doubt, probably working for George Soros. Yeah, the old Russian playbook. And there's Emmanuel Cleaver, not a bright man, not a sharp man, not a learned man, not a wise man.
You musty moo.
Musty moo. He's the smartest man on earth. I don't think you could make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich using 2 pieces of bread and a butter knife. That's the Democrat Party. Elon Musk spoke by video to a summit yesterday going on in Dubai, and he's an intelligent person, not a moron like Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver.
We really have here rule of the bureaucracy as opposed to rule of the people, democracy. We want to restore rule of the people. And so what that means is reducing the size of the federal government, basically reducing regulation. There's a tremendous amount of over-regulation that's happened over time.
Yeah, that is a fact, Jack, and the ever-expanding universe of the United States government. What Emmanuel Cleaver was incoherently yelling about was the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, and he just wants to make sure that every government agency is funded in perpetuity because we're only $36 trillion in debt, and we're going to pass it off to the next generation who will choke to death on this debt, and Emmanuel Cleaver is fine with that. You know, if we started paying off our national debt today, whip out your Bomar calculators. You got these calculators in your iPhones, your iPads, and they're miracle calculators. But if we started paying off the national debt right now, instead of adding to it, which we're doing right now, and paid down the national debt at $1 a second, $60 a minute, do the math out from there, it would take us more than 1 million years to pay off the national debt. That is to say that 36 trillion seconds adds up to more than 1 million years. Why it was left to me to do the math on this rather than the Wall Street Journal, their Treasury Department, or Republicans on Capitol Hill, I will never know. But never mind that. Elon Musk talking about what he's fighting. He's fighting against the permanent bureaucracy, which is the Sovietization of the United States of America. The ever-expanding bureaucracy, which eventually gobbles up everything, and the left knows that. Emmanuel Cleaver doesn't know anything, but he just comes out and yells like a horse moron or a horse's butt, as they do. But Elon Musk, maybe the smartest man in the world, versus Emmanuel Cleaver. You decide which party you're affiliated with. Again, Elon Musk used to be a big Democrat, and then he it occurred to him that they're all very severely mentally impaired. Remarkable stuff, I've got to say. And it was only after Emmanuel Cleaver's declaration yesterday that the Democrat Party realized at long last that Emmanuel Cleaver is very severely mentally impaired. And there are words that, that might be used to describe him, but we'll leave those on the table now. Elon Musk, not the case, not mentally impaired, and on our side, unlike Emmanuel Cleaver.
I think we do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like if leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back.
And the Democrats, the moment they can, will reestablish every government bureaucracy, every agency. Just an appalling political party, an embarrassment. And again, I grew up in a Democrat Party household. My dear departed mother was a lifelong Democrat, but they weren't mentally ill then. They, John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy, look what happened to them. And again, the Democrat Party is closer on the political spectrum today to Lee Harvey Oswald than they are to John F. Kennedy. And with their anti-Israel, pro-Hamas, pro-Iran position today, they're closer to Sirhan Sirhan on the political spectrum than they are to Robert F. Kennedy. Just ask Robert F. Kennedy Jr. about that. Womp, womp, womp. Yes, sir, your Democrat Party. Aren't they crazy? I'm going to get into this constitutional crisis fraud that they're perpetrating soon. But right now, let's go to the telephones. Let's go to Ronnie, calling from Middletown, Maryland. Ronnie, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
All right. What do you think about this? All these lawsuits against Donald Trump that the taxpayers had to pay for, all this money going to illegals, all this money going across seas that don't benefit the American taxpayer. I think it's time that the American taxpayer gets a payday.
They send us a check?
What's that?
They should send us all a check?
Yep. They send everybody else checks. Why can't they send the taxpayer a check?
Well, that is then we'd go into debt.
We're going into debt anyhow.
Now that we're 36,
we're the only ones getting screwed.
Yeah, that is a fact. Yeah. I think you're thinking that the government is not serving the taxpayers very well.
Right. We're getting screwed all the time.
Why?
While everybody else is making out.
Why? How come? How do you explain that?
It's the Democrats.
Well, it is. The one-word answer is Democrats. And it's greed and a corrupt lust for power. And they train generations of dumb people like Emmanuel Cleaver and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to buy into these ridiculous, fraudulent arguments. And they all pretend all day, every day. There's a constitutional crisis. If there is a constitutional crisis, it's the Democrat Party. That is the constitutional crisis. I've got to say, yes.
But Chris, they keep taking our taxpayer money and keep taking it. I think it's time for them to give some of it back.
Well, who do you think is going to be inclined to do that?
I don't know. Make sure the president hears it. Time to start sending the checks out.
Well, we might as well with the debt that we're in. Let's send every American. Oh, speaking of which, you're talking about checks and all that. The Democrats are reintroducing some of the racists, and there are many in the Democrat Party, are restarting an effort for reparations for black people in the United States.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
Well, they're reintroducing the bill yesterday. The skinhead, one of the skinheads, they got a lot of skinheads in Congress, the Democrats, Ayanna Pressley, reintroducing House Resolution 40 amid Trump's federal rollback of DEI. NBC News is very upset. And these frauds, Ayanna Pressley on her own website, amid onslaught on DEI. They don't know how to use the word onslaught. Presley Booker colleagues reintroduce historic reparations bill during Black History Month. As Marion Barry said, shortest month of the year ends on April Fool's Day, because he didn't know how a calendar works. Amazing stuff. Yeah, and here's Ayanna Pressley standing here with a big oversized check for $1 million, like she had just won the lottery. They're looking to shake down the American people for $1 million each. And I believe this is my plan for reparations, Ronnie. Every registered Democrat is responsible for paying reparations to black people in America, since they were the party of the Confederate States of America, and Confederate President Jefferson Davis, the Democrat, Abraham Lincoln, the Republican. Then a Democrat shot and killed Abraham Lincoln, the first Republican president. And the Democrats was standing in schoolhouse doors and Jim Crow. The Democrat Party owes black people money. I think Ayanna Pressley is going to have to take her money from one pocket and put it in another pocket and then say we're done. Just a thought.
Oh, you want to use our money to go to Mars? No, we want to use our money right here in Washington, D.C.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. Now the left is very upset. President Trump is talking about electric military vehicles. They were very happy when Joe Biden was talking about electric military vehicles. Let's go to, I'll explain that coming up. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Michael calling from Chicago, Illinois, listening on the great WLS. Michael, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Chris! Oh, my God. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can.
Listen, good morning. Thank you for coming. I have a couple of questions, okay?
Sure.
Or a couple of statements, and please let me finish.
Well, the clock is ticking.
I cannot beg you enough.
Okay.
I'm a retired teacher, and the more time you spend in school, the less time you spend with students, and you make more money. We pay a principal 6 figures, he doesn't teach. It's infuriating. The higher they go in the system, the less time they spend with the students. And they make the constant argument they're doing it for the students. And I always made the argument, if you're so enthralled with the students, I think the principal should be teaching one class a day. Interact with the students you claim or portend you're helping. Does that make any sense to anybody? You know, we have a shortage of teachers, and you've got a bunch of post-pubescent morons in the front office that not only have the qualifications, but they refuse to teach the students.
Sounds like liberal logic to me. You know, Michael.
Oh, my God. Hang on for a second. I think I'm going to finish with.
I've got to ask you to hang on for a minute now because we've run out the clock on ourselves. But hang in there and I'll come back to you. And we have returned. Our friend Michael in Chicago dropped off the line. He's probably got a job to do. He's got things to do. You know, people are busy out there. Michael, my apologies. The timing was such that, we're not NPR. We've got to pay our own bills and keep our own lights on. We're not suckling on the taxpayer teat. Can you say teat on the radio? I think you can. Yeah, the bureaucracies, Michael, the unions, Michael, the city of Chicago, Michael, and in the end, Michael knew the question came up, and the answer is Democrats. It's kind of the answer to almost everything bad going on in the world, isn't it? Remarkable things. There are President Trump is working on getting hostages released by the troglodytes in the Gaza. And the terrorists there are still holding scores of human beings, raping, torturing, and murdering. A lot of them are already dead. They're holding on to the dead bodies. That's, I think necrophilia is the word of the day in the Gaza. These people are not well. And President Trump is working on bringing peace to Europe by ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. And the Democrats are very angry about that, too, aren't they? Yes, they are. Wah, wah, wah. They're not on the side of us. The headlines from the phony, baloney, corrupt news media, they're talking about how Hamas may be releasing hostages, and they tell the story without mentioning Trump. It's like Hamas are the good guys in the story, because that is how corrupt the news media is. Isn't that amazing? Also, National Panhandler Radio, I mentioned them a couple of minutes ago, suckling on the taxpayer teat. They've got a headline today. The headline is Trump administration set to purchase $400 million worth of armored Teslas. Armored Teslas. And NPR are very upset about that. They're quite angry. The Trump administration, see, they don't have the Trump administrator, Trump, in the first paragraph of hostages being released by Hamas from Gaza. That doesn't score, but amazing stuff. The Trump administration is expected to purchase $400 million worth of armored Tesla vehicles, according to a new State Department document detailing procurement for fiscal year 2025. Now, this is not the Pentagon. This is the State Department. The State Department uses armored vehicles to transport Secretary of State, senior State Department officials in war zones and in rough areas where they might be targeted. You know, you've seen all the Tom Clancy movies, and there they usually have the white Chevy Suburban SUVs armored, and then the terrorists come out on rooftops with rocket-propelled grenades, and, Harrison Ford barely survives, right? But the State Department does have need for such things, armored limousines. The president and other cabinet officials ride around Washington, D.C. in armored limousines, and foreign dignitaries visiting the United States drive around Washington in armored vehicles provided by the United States. Tesla chief executive Elon Musk is a top White House official who has been leading the Department of Government Efficiency, which NPR is against, a unit focused on shrinking the federal workforce and ferreting out corruption. Yeah, that's true. The document does not specify that Tesla vehicles will be purchased by U.S. officials, but Musk's Cybertruck, with its militaristic design and stainless steel exterior, could be an option. So they're leaping to a conclusion when they say they're going to buy armored electric vehicles. They say, oh, sure, he's going to buy them from Elon Musk. And NPR is angry about that, right? After reports circulated last night, of the State Department intent to purchase Tesla vehicles, the document was edited at 9:12 p.m. They're putting together a court case here, NPR. And now says the federal contract is for $400 million worth of, quote, armored electric vehicles. But the word Tesla was removed. Responding to a segment by MSNBC's Rachel Maddow, an extremist left-wing radical, about the $400 million contract, Musk wrote on X on Wednesday night, "Hey, Maddow, why the lie?" The State Department and Musk did not return requests for comment. So here's NPR creating they're just leaping ahead, and the thing is, here's what they're going to omit. There are lies of commission and lies of omission, and now they're going to perpetrate a lie of omission. But I went to Al Gore's amazing internet because he is a bloated member of the patriarchy, and he created this amazing thing called the internet. He is so great and corpulent, too. But Joe Biden and the Biden administration, they don't remember at NPR, but I remember here. I took a quick look on the internet, and I found a story from 2021. And this is from the military.com, the Military Times. Electric military vehicles are part of Biden climate agenda, Pentagon says. Fleets of electric vehicles ready to shoulder the military's workload and slash greenhouse gas emissions over the coming decade. That's what the Pentagon is hoping it can pull off as part of President Joe Biden's efforts to combat climate change, Deputy Defense Secretary Kathleen Hicks said on Monday. Anybody remember her? Nobody remembers her. Tactical vehicles will first go hybrid, using a mix of fossil fuels and electricity before making a full transition. Going to make a full transition, so they're all going to be lady vehicles, because that's what transition means in Democrat circles. While about 170,000 non-tactical cars and trucks used at military bases could go right to electric. Who do you think they're going to buy those 170,000 vehicles from? Who's making these electric vehicles and armored electric vehicles, please? And I recall recently a Democrat went to a Trump hotel in Las Vegas in one of these Tesla electric vehicles with the militaristic, NPR says, militaristic design. And he blew himself up and self-immolated in the driveway of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas in a Tesla vehicle. He had filled it with nail bombs, hoping to murder lots of people in a suicide attack. He was not a Muslim. He was a Democrat. And he killed himself and only himself, thankfully, at the Trump Hotel in a Tesla vehicle with nail bombs. And the vehicle was so sturdy that the explosion went straight up instead of going out sideways as he had hoped. And it didn't kill other people. It only killed the Democrat who rented the Tesla in order to murder people in a suicide attack. But it turned out it was a suicide attack of one. That's our Democrat Party, and that's our media. And there's really no separating the two. Aren't they amazing? Also, President Trump trying to get our economy back on track. And one of the things he's doing is looking at our relationships with countries around the world and seeing if we're being taken advantage of. And he's finding examples all over the place of us being taken advantage of. And he, not the Democrats, but President Trump, wants to put an end to that because he's on our side. And the Democrats are not on our side, not even close. Man, oh, man. In fact, a story just breaking now. The Trump EPA boss alleges $20 billion wasted in a Biden administration scheme. Right? EPA Administrator Zeldin, former member of the House of Representatives, ran for governor of New York, demands return of $20 billion in taxpayer money wasted by Biden administration. The Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin said Wednesday that his team has located $20 billion in tax dollars that the Biden administration purposely wasted. An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day. Zeldin said in a video posted to X, citing another video from December, the gold bars were tax dollars, and tossing them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it. Zeldin said the EPA has plans to recover the gold bars that were found parked at an outside financial institution, which he does not mention by name. He said that the scheme was the first of its kind in EPA history and was purposefully designed to obligate all the money in a rush job with reduced oversight before Inauguration Day. Lee Zeldin is a smart guy and a serious guy, not like Emmanuel Cleaver. Zeldin said there is zero reason to suspect any wrongdoing by the bank, but he thinks an agreement with the institution needs to be instantly terminated and that the money should be immediately returned. They created another $20 billion slush fund, and they laughed about it and bragged about it because that's what the Democrats do. And then where was the money going to go? going to go to Democrat Party donors and friends of Democrats that are in a position to abuse their power and send tens of billions of dollars to their political allies, because that's what corruption is, and there's no accountability in this city. They lie, cheat, and steal every day, and there's no accountability because who's supposed to hold them accountable? They're pals, wink and a nod. Wank, wank, wank. The days of irresponsibly shoveling boatloads of cash to far-left activist groups in the name of environmental justice and climate equity are over, Zeldin said. The American public deserves a more transparent and accountable government than what transpired these past 4 years. Thank you very much. Said he'd also be referring this matter to the Inspector General's office and that he would work with the Department of Justice to assist President Donald Trump in regaining control. These people. President Trump today at the White House also meeting with India's Prime Minister, Modi. And didn't Joe Biden have some calamitous episode with Prime Minister Modi, too? He's an embarrassment to everything. But here's the Associated Press, the AP. They used to be in the news business. Now, the Associated Press story, Modi is meeting with Trump in a visit meant to boost the U.S.-India relationship and avoid tariffs. Well, see, President Trump is meeting with Modi, and Modi's not a bad guy, not one of the bad guys, and India is a complex place and everything. But here's the Associated Press. President Donald Trump is meeting Thursday with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who has heaped praise on him and is hoping to avoid tariffs that the new administration has slapped on other countries in its opening weeks. Modi is a nationalist and has, talked up his warm relationship with President Trump during his first term while cheering his winning back to the White House. The Indian leader is looking to improve relations with Washington, well, naturally, and the West overall, which, have been frosty lately. And it's funny, the Associated Press been frosty. Relations with the U.S. and the West been frosty lately after Modi refused to condemn Russia for its war on Ukraine. So you mean during the Biden administration when wars were breaking out all over? But here's the thing. President Trump is bringing it to the Indians because, believe it or not, India, they have tariffs on us for all kinds of products. And President Trump is taking it to India and saying, okay, it's time that you guys stopped behaving as though we are in a trade war and you guys start treating the U.S. fairly. It's kind of a crazy thing. The tariffs that the Indians have imposed on the United States of America on a number of different products. President Trump has repeatedly dubbed India the tariff king. In response, Delhi has shown a willingness to buy more American oil and lowering its own tariffs on U.S. goods, including Harley-Davidson motorcycles, a 50% tariff on Harley-Davidson motorcycles. India in 2023 dropped retaliatory tariffs against U.S. almonds, apples, chickpeas, lentils, and walnuts. Hey, wait a minute. Why does India have all these tariffs on the United States? Isn't that wacky? So President Trump's going to sit down with Prime Minister Modi, and he's going to see to it that the playing field is leveled with perhaps the world's most populous nation, toss up between China and India. And they produce a lot of things. And it turns out there's a lot of countries around the world, even friendly countries, that take advantage of the United States of America. And I've got more on that coming up with audio. And then we've got some from the White House briefing yesterday and the Democrats, who's on our side and who's not. So President Trump leveling the playing field and pointing out that countries, even our friends, are taking advantage of the United States, and he's putting an end to that. That's good for us.
I want to thank you all for being here. Now, who am I introducing next? Who's next?
Distinguished guests, the Prime Minister of the Republic of India.
It is mailbag day, too, again, as yesterday was, but I didn't get to it yesterday. So I got to get to that. Yes, sir. Today is World Radio Day, too. I'm in the world and I'm on the radio, so this has got to be a pretty good day for me. World Radio Day. Let's go to the telephones. Let's talk to Paul, calling from Herndon, Virginia. Paulo, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Hi, Chris. I was just thinking about all the attacks on Elon Musk from the Democrats, and then I'm thinking back maybe 5 or 10 years. How long has the Tesla been around? Let me guess, a majority of the owners of Teslas are Democrats. So do they have a guilt trip when they drive their cars around?
AOC bought one, right? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bought one. She doesn't know how it works or anything. But, yeah, a lot of them, the lefties, because it's posturing, having a very expensive electric car, is all about their egos and saying, see, I'm saving the planet. I'm slowing the rise of the oceans. And then the Democrat Party turned on Elon Musk, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they turned on him because
they must have bumper stickers on some of those Teslas that say, I hate Elon or something like that, even though they're driving his car.
That'd be a good marketing thing, I think. Yeah, even T-shirts they could wear while they're driving them, because hate is the order of the day with them, isn't it? But you're right, they turned on Elon Musk, and that's because he stopped singing from their sheet music, right?
Well, you do have a gift store, right, at WMAL? Like that up in your gift shop.
We do, the Chris Plant store online. Yeah, we don't have a store in the building, but online we do. And look, they turned on RFK Jr. They're all fine with him until he stopped singing from the sheet music. They turned on Tulsi Gabbard, who was a Democrat member of Congress from Hawaii for 8 years. They turn on everybody. They are. Well, I don't want to use any bad words. I'll just say they're Democrats. They're hypocrites. They have no sense of irony.
Well, whatever you do, don't call them the DICK.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because we had that one too. Yeah, and Manderson Pooper. Yeah, Manderson Pooper calling Republican former governor now that word on CNN. But with him, it's not necessarily an insult.